I think, am I live? I guess I'm live, huh? Yes. Hello, everyone. This is the Thursday at the Rolex Center, and I will present a topic every week. This week, I will pick a topic that is a little bit unusual. I would say we will talk about dating and successful dating, uh, which is a funny topic because that means most of the people, they are longing relationship, and when you understand how the universe operates and how the human being is also operating, then it's easy. We are social beings. We are made for bonding with one another, and it's just a question of understanding and placing yourself with a loving and respectful attitude with one another. Okay, so and then we'll talk about the experience, how you can really create your environment, and then the key points that are required to be happy within your relationship or you date. Okay, so if there is any question, you can probably use the chat box or the comments on the YouTube if you're listening to us via YouTube, or I will try to see if I can also add some person live, probably next session at this time. Okay, so dating, how do we bond with one another and how to be successful at it? Basically, most of the things is that we are attracted to people that are truly themselves. So the first thing that is very important to do is to be authentic, to be your true self. So that means you have to love yourself before being able to love another person. And it's very important because it's also the energy that you radiate. If you don't love yourself, then the other people will feel it. And by feeling that, that creates an environment that you can feel, knowing that on the emotional spectrum there is few emotion that we can categorize into. There is the emotion of separation and rejection, which is the most painful things that the human being can experience, because we are all united. So everything that tears us apart is like little death, so to speak. And so there is a two polarity where there is fear on one side, that is all what's put us in a separation mode. We want to distance ourselves from what we are afraid of. And there is the love emotion, where is the opposite. We want to feel united. So there is the two tendencies. Either we come together or we go apart. And everything in the universe follow that type of rules. Love and fear type of duality. Separation or bringing together or binding. And so for the people it's the same. So if you come from areas where you're fearful, or you're afraid of not being successful, afraid of not being not worth it, lacking confidence and all those things, is always an energy that will put you to a distance. distance of yourself, and if you're at the distance of yourself, you will be at the distance of others. So that's one point. Then obviously, I mean, I've been lately in a couple of events that was funny. I have a friend that every time that she asks me to go out, she bring me those weird event parties or whatever that are for single people. And so I find that really funny, because the first time I got invited to one of those parties, I was not even aware there was a single night, and so I was just coming casually, or like a social gathering, and then find out that everybody were single there. And so that's kind of interesting, because you don't have to ask the question. People, they are single, they are available, and so that puts yourself in a different type of context, where you don't have the break the ice type of approach, because the ice is already broken there. So that was really funny type of scenario, and that's allow the people maybe to be more themselves, because they don't have the initial approach where you shy, you don't know how to approach the person that you seems to like, you don't know if they are available or not, so you're afraid of rejection. I mean, for sure, it's one of the fear that ones have, because it's a painful one. And so that's totally out of the scope, because that all the people there are single, and all the people there are probably for shopping, so to speak. So that make a weird situation. Obviously, if you on the search, then also you send vibe to the universe that you're searching. And so the question is, can you find someone when you just in a vibration of search? Probably not. It's a question when you have too much expectation, then you're just expecting, and then that means things never occur. You have to understand is that the universe is that everything is information. Everything is sound, or everything is vibration or energy, or whatever your school of thought is. And so when you place yourself in I expect, I want to be with someone, I want to have someone in my life, I want to have this person to be that. You send an energy that says you have the vibration of the lack of someone, because that's what you want to feel. And so if you are that mode, the universe will reflect that and send you more of more situation where you feel the lack, or feel you amplify your desire, your willingness to be with someone. And so you have to let go of that. Basically, to everything in the universe is available. In the universe is abundant. Just the fact that you think about something is an act of creation. It's in the quantum physics, where you think about something, it creates the collapse of the wave, the collapse of the information, the incarnation of the energy, the pure creation act. And so the thoughts, at every thought, there is a creation in the physical world. And it can be in this real, tangible, physical world, but we also now in the physics understand that we live in a multi-universe. So that means that every single thing that you're capable of thinking exists. And so you don't know, even if there is no causality. It's not because you think that it's created the thing, or it's because that things exist that you can think about it. It's both at the same time. There is no first and second. It's at the same time, instantaneously. And so that means every single desire that you have in one of the multi-universe, it exists. So you just have to experience it from that multi-universe to manifest it in your reality. And so that's how you create things in the real world, because you live in all the universe together, and when there is something in one plane, you have always the same in every other plane, because you are only one conscious that experience the full holographic aspect of all the universe together. So that means, as far as the dating scene, is that if you imagine and want someone, and then that means you experience more of the ones. So the approach is more a question of formulating the demand. Demand is too strong in English. It's more a request. So you make a request to the universe. You say, "Hey, I have a desire of being with someone with whom I can share all my beautiful experience, blissful whole life." And you just emit that desire, like you would send a message in the ocean, in a bottle, and then you forget about it. So the fact that you thought about it, the fact that you're not too much attached to that once, you let it go, and then the information is there now, present in the universe. And so it will resonate with everything that is in resonance, is the same frequency, then that message. And it come back, because the thought, it's like you send a little wave at a given frequency, and every material structure of the universe, so at the wave level, but also at the physical, like I say, material level, will resonate with it. And that's how it's like a crystal, You have a seed of a wave, and it will propagate and replicate and amplified by all the rest around that is in the same resonance. And so it will crystallize and incarnate in this world. And so it will come back. You thought, if you let it go, it will come back. And that's how you should approach dating if you want to be successful. In a sense, if you want to, I don't want to use the word, but if you have the desire to have a fulfilling life on this topic, on this subject, it's a way to go. And so doing this, you can end up meeting new people that are in resonance with yourself, in resonance with your life. So the way of attracting people that are matching, that are a match with you, is to be yourself, to your truly full potential. So that's why all the school of self-love, self-confidence are very good for finding a good mate, if we can call it this way. So that's one approach. The other approach you can do, like I did last Saturday, is go to a pheromone party. So that was funny. It's one of those single parties that I got invited to, and I decided to go because it's so fun to see that in action. Pheromone party is that we are, as far as meeting people, we are attracted to people by a few rules, and the rules of chemistry, and then that's real chemistry, meaning it's at the molecular level. You're not attracted to a person because she's or he's pretty or he's whatever, fulfilling any type of checklist, is because of the atomical constitution of the sense and the odor that is or she is emitting, or even more because of the constitution of the DNA. That's It's just natural. Biology is made to be successful in terms of reproduction, in terms of sustainability of the species, and so on. And so you are attracted with the people that have the more the diversity. I mean, that have the more difference in the genome than you. So it's just to get more chance to evolution, genetic evolution, and so on. The more diversity you have, the better. And so that's one of the rules, and that's the chemistry. There is nothing we can do about it. So the question is, how do you meet people that are a DNA mismatch, so to speak? The more mismatch, the better. And so pheromone is one way, because one of the most sensitive sense is the smell. We have cells in the nose that are capable of detecting particles that are not even in the air that we breathe. Sounds kind of weird, but it's through some quantic entanglement and then collapsing of the information that we are capable of sensing that, for instance, the smell of a rose in a garden where you have very few particles in the air, not even reaching the nose, and then you smell the rose. So it's one of the more subtle sense that we have, and so it's very good for detecting the DNA composition of the other person. And so how do those events and parties operate? And we bring basically every person attending those parties bring a t-shirt they slept in for 1 or 2 or 3 nights in, and you put that in a bag with a number, and then you give the bags to the other people to smell, and then they pick the number based on their feeling. Not a question of like or dislike the scent, but it's more a question of feeling that it's pleasant or not pleasant to you. And then you make your selection, and then if the other person has chosen your number, then there is a match, and then basically the host of the party will bring you together and then exchange the contact information, give you the contact information to the both person, all person that matches. So that's very interesting, and what I've noticed attending that is that I've made the list of all the t-shirts that I smelled, and then I was rating them, with minus if I didn't like it, plus if I like it, question mark if I'm not sure but I want to test to smell it again, and all those things. And I've noticed that all the shirts that I've selected were the one, amazingly, of the people, because I asked after the party the numbers of the person that I was friendly. I introduced myself before the party, that I had a conversation, kind conversation, that type of thing. And I've noticed that most of the person I have talked to before, just naturally, were the one that I select the shirts. So it must really, really, really be working this way. is that you even socially interact with people that smell good to you, nothing else. All the other one, yeah, not even the one, that t-shirt that I didn't select it, I didn't even talk to them before. And we were like probably 50 women, 50, maybe less. Yeah, a little bit. So less than 100 total. So with a proper balance, like 40 of each, something like that. So interesting experience, and that proved that pheromones does work. But then that doesn't make the relationship successful. It's not because you smell good to one another that you bound to success. Then you still need to be loving to yourself. The other thing is you need to understand how the people, the other person, your partner, relates with respect to emotion, with respect to what is the type of love that she's used to. Most of the time we have those early child experience of what is love. I mean, based on what our parents were giving us. If you look, for example, in my case, I had a mom that retired when I was born, when we were born with my brother, and so we had a mother that was totally available all the time. And so giving time is a form of love. From some other people is providing for food, for comfort, for so if you have a family where the dad is working a lot, never present, but is working hard to provide material comfort for the family, then the form of love will be like material or financial things. And that's why you can see people that seek financial stability as a form of love. And so there is time, there is love, there is a five type, I forgot, the words, the gifts, the time, material, I don't know exactly, but I mean, you can find out online the final form. And so if you know what kind of love your partners know how to receive, then you can at least make an effort of adjusting your way of loving, even though that you can only love the way, so you know how to give only what you know how to receive. So that means you have little flexibility there, but knowing at least what the other person react to and is sensitive to is a big help, because we both come from two different realities. I mean, we are even if we are one and can sense what the other is, we are two individual higher self that have developed over time, over life, over experience, a way of perceiving the world. So it's one complete universe. And when I say complete, it's complete. The other one is also including that one. And the other one is also another full, complete universe. And we are one because all those universes are interconnected, but they are still distinct universes. It's like all the multi-universe. So you have multi-universe for yourself because you have several lives, several possibilities, all your thoughts, all the options, all your choice. When you make a choice between A and B, you have the universe where you choose B, you have the universe when you choose A, and you have also the universe from the other that includes all the other choice. So yeah, it's a big, huge ball of yarn where everything is connected, every universe of everyone is connected, but they are still distinct. And when you get in a relation, when you get into a relationship with one person, is when you do you bridge two universes. And usually you bridge two universes with a black hole, a tunnel, a quantum tunnel, where two distinct universes that are intricate, entangled, where you can communicate, transfer information from one to the other. And this communication can only be established when you have a true, authentic, heart-to-heart communication or talk with one another, where you travel from your own point to the other's universe. You make the trip, you go through the monkey bridge, like I used to mention, is you traverse the gap between the two universes on this tiny rope to be able to reach the other person. And that's all the how do you say, the empathetic type of relationship, the connection that our brain is capable to make with the feeling what the other feeling. I mean, viewing the world from the other point of view, the exocentric type of view. So if we bring back the model of the three way of registering our memories, so the self-centered view, where you see the world from your own place, from your center. The allocentric view, where you see the world from an outside point of view. That's the objective. Nowadays, I would say objective science, where you see things from the outside, but without involving the person. And you have the empathetic point of view, the where you see things from the other, and that's where you can have the true communication, meaning the true merging of both, or the true connection of both universes. And so that's how you get successful in dating. You have to have all those bridges crossed, and to be able to cross those bridges, communication, and truly authentic communication. So there is no game, there is no dating game, there is no pickup line that would work. Is be yourself. And so when you're with another person, let's say on a date, imagine you do a speed dating. So you have 5 minutes to convince the other person that you might be a match. How do you do that? I mean, everything you say it might be interpreted wrongly, because you have no clue, you don't know the person, you have no clue of what her or his universe is, and you have no clue about, and then or he doesn't know yours universe. So there's a high risk of misunderstanding, high risk of clash or whatever it is, and so how do you deal with that? I mean, I got myself, if I'm in that type of situation, I've got a trick. What I will do is just connect with the other person. You even don't have to say a single word in these 5 minutes. For instance, you just connect with the eye and you stay silent 5 minutes. You will see that you will bring all emotion. You will communicate your emotion rather than communicating words or what should I say, and being shy and being afraid of saying the wrong thing, or being afraid of saying too much, blah 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 blah. Just say nothing. If you are capable of keeping eye contact for 5 minutes with the other person, what will happen during those 5 minutes worth much more of any talk, any pickup line, any presentation. What are you doing? Do you work? Where do you live? Blah blah blah. All the nonsense question that bring nothing. Nothing valuable in terms of knowing the other person for who she is really or who he is in fact. And so if you connect with the eyes, the things you have is that when you look at the other in the eyes, your brain is in a mode of mirroring. And what you're mirroring all the facial gesture. So all the smile, all the tears, all the little things, all the emotion that come to the surface. And if you are able to hold the gaze for long enough, then you will have emotion, because you will see beauty in the other. You will see in that person, you will see the feature of his face relaxing. You will see maybe some shyness that pop out, like a blush or whatever. You will see the eyes getting shiny, and all that is very touching for one another. And so by seeing that, by mimicking the facial expression, then you will experience the same emotion. So that's how you connect emotionally with one person. Look at that person in the eyes, and when you connect, you feel the same. If you do a fake smile, the other person will sense and will know there is a fake smile, because he or he will mimic the smile and say, that's a fake smile. So 5 minutes without talking, lots of emotion communicating, and you're done. I'm sure that your date will select you, cross the checkbox, and then you will have more time for developing and then knowing one another later. So that's for speed dating. Then slow dating. So slow dating is probably different. It's more a question of knowing spending time to know the other person in a neutral environment. I never did slow dating, so I don't know how it operates. What I think is that if you have a conversation with a person, just be genuine. If you're interested in that person, just be interested in that person. Learn who she is. Learn what's make or his or he move. What's move the other person? What's the value that he or she's going by? What's our background, our past, and so on. So it's a question of showing just interest and being able to share experience. We are the result of our experience. The more you learn by communicating truly about what's your experience, what's the other person's experience, the more you get in sync, the more you can be at the same frequency. The more you can be at the same frequency, the more you can resonate. Resonate meaning connect, meaning bridging the two universes. And that's where the meeting occurs. So one thing is, try to meet truly the other person. Is that sometimes you can go and then I have this date, and then we all talk about one another, but stay totally locked in our sphere. So I talk about my job, I talk about my life, and then she talk about her job, talk about her life, and then we didn't meet. We didn't share experience. We just learned casual things about one another, but there was like sterile. So it's more a question of when you talk about yourself or when you listen about the other person, try to experience the emotion, and then because that's the true. That's yourself. You will show yourself as an authentic person. You live with your emotion. You decide with your emotion. And so, when you're on a date with someone, just talk, and then get emotionally naked. Talk about things that touch you, and that can be anything, That can be this cup of tea that is in a recycled or cardboard, and then with the tea with verveine and edelweiss. Edelweiss, oh, that's something that I love to watch when I was climbing, when I was a child at 7 years old on what is in the Parc des Écrins. We were amazed about those little flowers that grow about anywhere. This little form of life that is resilient, and then you talk about resilience. How you were resilient during your experience in life and that type of thing. Is bring things with what you have lived. Bring your life on the table, so to speak. So yeah, that's one way. And so next, also you have to be careful, is because once you do that, and then you will notice that there is a bunch of people that pop up in your life because they resonate with your frequency, and then you have a multitude of choice. You have tons of friends that are coming, and that you feel connected to. But you still have to screen, because everybody, we have our background, we have our failure, and then we carry some of the baggage. So the best thing is to drop the baggage. How to drop the baggage? If you want to be real, with your true self, is that you have to do some cleanup. And cleanup means all the ties, all the thought, the relationship that you didn't obtain closure, or all the things that is, or your failure, but your rejection that you still have. On your heart, or on your mind. All those are part of other pieces of universe that don't belong to you. And okay, sometimes if you're alone, it might be nice to carry all that baggage, but if you want to be truly yourself, it's something that weighs you down and block you in your life. And so just cutting the ties, and then it doesn't need to be very fancy or difficult thing. It's like when you take a shower, you let the water run on you and carry away all the dirt. The same thing for all your mental ties, pollution, that type of thing. Is you let go the things that from the past doesn't need to be anymore in your life, and so you can review most of your past relationship, your ex-girlfriends, ex-boyfriends, and see how much things you still have cut and time to cut. I did that in the beginning of this year, and that was amazing, because I did that with systematically cut the ties. So imagining the person, say thank you, being grateful, or to have share a little of your life and past with that person, and just express literally the fact that you are cutting the links that are not anymore valid between you and that person, and then you give back what belongs to that person. You take back what's belonged to you after cleaning, for sure, and so that you can rebuild and reconstitute yourself. Take all your belongings and be yourself, and give back all the other person belongings, so that the other person can be herself or himself. And so I did that in the beginning of the year, and amazingly, I have all systematically all the single past relationship were, I mean, all the single ex-girlfriends were calling me back one after the other. I mean, not calling, but or sending a text message or reaching out for something, I mean, even casual, say, hey, hello, I'm there, or whatever. And so that's funny because that was really the fact that you do the cleanup and bring back the last part of the communication relationship that was still there in the background or whatever, and then so that it can be totally clean and then totally cut for what is caduc or what is not useful for your growth. I mean, you don't want to erase everything. It's not saying it's a reset button. I mean, I forget, I don't know you anymore. It's a question, it's all the negative things, all the frustration, all the things that does not move you, that put some weight, that weight you down. You can liberate that. The good things, I mean, you still have good memories, right? You don't have to throw that away. I mean, it's always nice to have good memories because, I mean, there's no reason that you're in a totally, how do you say, bad terms with all your past. No, I mean, I'm not saying that at all. It's just having clean cut. You drop your baggage, you give away what does not belong to you, and then you see all the new person that are showing up too. So now it's a question being in a mode that's where you are in the universe, happy with yourself, having a fulfilling life, and you have sent the bottle in the ocean. They say, I have a desire to share with someone, and then you have all those someone that pop up. You just have to pick what's happening. You know, you have to collect what the answer of the universe. And so then there's the question is that how do you pick the right person? And that's this last part, is that you need to develop your intuition. Do you sense anybody? I mean, they have their strengths, they have their weaknesses. I mean, nobody is perfect because we are all perfectly imperfect. And that's what makes the richness of one another, is because we are on a path to improve, on a path to evolve, that it's so nice. You have this richness, you have this I think that's the human side, you know. We are not perfect, but we are all, I mean, we are all one. We are perfect in that sense, and still there is this life evolving, perfecting yourself. You know, it's like our moves. You know, like in the Wu Tai philosophy, is that we are perfecting our move and our gesture all the time, every time that we execute it, and the life and the consciousness of each of us is the same. We are evolving and getting better all the time, and so that's a beautiful journey. And so the question is, how do you decide which person would be beneficial, or you sense you want to pick for sharing your journey? And that's where you have to develop a sense of intuition. And sense of intuition is something that you can develop over time. I mean, everybody has an intuition. That's part of the first third eye, and it's just a question of knowing how to listen to it. The intuition is the intuitive thought is a thought that comes from the quantic field. So it's not the thought process that is the analytic one, you know, that you have on the analytic side of the brain, where you thought A brings thought B, brings thought C, and so on. It's more a question where you have you put your brain in a state that is calm enough so that you're sensitive to signal from the universe, from the quantum field, that is very, very, very subtle. And then that can reach, any type of places on the universe. So that means that if you're connected, if you're quiet enough, you're capable of listening to every type of radio. It's like you tune your radio on a given frequency, and by being quiet you can pick up any station in the universe. And there is a station for you, there is a station that brings the solution of your problem, there is everything. And so if you're capable of tuning up on that, boom, then you're connected, you're entangled with that. So if you have a problem and you can be entangled with the solution, and by bringing the solution and the problem together, that's the quantic healing technique, the 2-point technique, is that you're on the information side capable of reaching and having access in all the Akashic record with the solution available. And so what is the right person? Or is this person right for me? For at least the experience I want to share. The answer is there. If you're quiet enough in your mental, you have the answer. And that's the intuition. That's where the intuition. The intuition is the way of bringing this information from the quantum field back to the conscious space. And so that's a creation act, and that's why all the artistic discipline, dance, performance, arts, all those things, they are a way of training your intuition, because they are act of creation. Act of creation is from nothing that you create something, right? So it's from the source. It's from the source that you create life. It's not the mechanical, judgmental, robotic type of thing. A robot will be always inert. You don't have life in a robot. However, so you cannot make nice programmable or programmed music. You need the interpreter, you need the human, you need the life to be able to do improvisation and do creation, artistic creation. So artistic creation is a good way of training your intuition. And every time that you have a problem, try to see what we call it gut feelings. Gut feelings, what do you mean gut feelings? Meaning the feelings from your guts. It's because we store a lot of memories, a lot of emotion within our guts. And that's the second brain. And if we say brain, that means we have also these parts of our nervous system that is connected to the intuitive creation brain, and so capable of listening and tapping in the whole universe. And so that's how, when you listen to your gut feeling or your heart, you can tap from everywhere in the universe and have the correct answer. Because also everything has been played. If you're in a multi-universe where you have all the options done, you have all the times you can travel times in back and forth, so you can watch all the scale of time, all the scale of space, and all different options. Then if you have any problem, you have the solution already available. You just have to read and reach out. So it's pretty simple. How do you cultivate that? Intuition, calming down, so artistic creation, calming down your brain, is all the technique of meditation, that type of thing, that helps. And when you're connected in this way to the universe, then life is just wonderful. You cannot believe everything fall in place as you want. You total in control, in power of making the real world the way you want it. And so that's how you can control the weather, going to Montbatur with heavy rain on the path, saying, that would be nice to have at least no cloud near the sun, to be able to see the sunrise. You can have an influence on the weather. That's exactly the way the weather forecast is working. So how do we predict weather today? It's pretty simple. What we do is take a bunch of sensors all around the world, and we sense temperature, wind, humidity, sun, all the metrics, weather metrics, pressure, and so on. And we feed that to a big, huge AI computer that crunch data and make simulation. We simulate the most natural transformation of the weather pattern. We simulate, and then we make assumption. If there is one perturbation, we create a simulation scenario. Then how we will evolve the weather. And if we make that, how we will evolve. And we make a tree of possibilities. And then we weight those possibilities. And we say, what is the most probable one? And that type of thing. And that's how we make weather forecast. The universe operates the same. Is that at every decision of choices, at every what if scenario, there is both multi-universe of options, and then so that means all the weather patterns are available at the same time. So how do you change the weather? It's just a question that every single what if choice is a decision. Every decision is a collapse of a wave. So it's two states, choice A, choice B, that's our entangled. So we have both state A and B until someone, a conscious somewhere, is collapsing the wave and incarnates that decision in the real world. And so in that sense, that every what if options that the computer is simulating for the weather forecast is a way, is a direction that the weather can take. And it will be taken based on all the conscience around. And so that means if nobody cares about the weather, then it will just go with the global consciousness, go one way. That will be the most most of the case. But if somewhere there is a little elemental, the little spirit of the wind that say, hey, I want to blow a little bit more, it will influence, this conscience will influence the choice of the weather simulation. And it will happen this way. And so that means that as a human being, we are capable of modifying the weather the same way. You make one of the choice of the what if simulation, you incarnate those choices in one way versus the other. And so in that sense, we have a way of influencing it, but we don't have a way of totally drastically change it. That means if there is a storm, then there will be a storm. You can not have a shiny things because it's not part of the simulation model, at least for that present state, at least at that present time. The multi-universe where it's sunny, this exists, but it's not at the same point of time, because there is no time, it's a different place in time and space. So that means you have a small influence. And so that's a way of when you ask for something to the universe, you have to ask something that is within reach, so to speak, or that is compatible or that is in harmony with the universe, harmony with God.